we're good. We're good. A little less, please. A little less thick. Oh God, you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Comfortable?
No, I'm wearing dirty O.J. Simpson gloves. I could choke you guys out. I'm cool.
All right, yeah.
Oh shit.
So Spencer, thank you for taking the time out of your day and having us come into your workspace. It's
Welcome
awesome.
to my studio. Yeah, it's always open to you, my friend.
Thank you. And I don't know, we'll get started here. Don't overthink it. Just what comes to mind. Just try to like your bio. Like tell us a little bit about yourself and your art. And I don't know, just knowing you, I think they kind of intertwine with each other.
Yeah.
And
So I was born in 1976. I'm gonna shut off that fan. Sorry. I was born in 1976 in El Cajon, California. I was the son of an engineer, actually. My father was a master blacksmith. Here's a college-level textbook that my sister and I still get royalties that he wrote. And here's a 8th grade level book that he wrote and illustrated, my mom and him. So between my two parents, they published about 30 textbooks. So I really won the parents' lottery to become an artist. I grew up in a machine shop fabricating more like shit kicker stuff. More like my dad was into buying old cars and flipping them, and we'd fix them up and flip them. So but that's how I learned how to work on metal. So I learned how to fabricate. So I learned how to constructually think. Because what I do now are all those same tools. They're just for sculpture. So I grew up in just like the most pro building environment. Where my dad looked at everything to where if that wasn't the way that he wanted, he would make it the way that he'd want it. And so I grew up under that, and I would do that it started with toys. So when I was about 7 years old, my dad was a shit kicker from Kentucky. He bought me a Bowie knife, and I started whittling around the campfire, just making like spears and shit. And then I got into making weird little like demon characters because I loved them, and so I would make more like little puppets and demons and carve wood with characters like this and make them all articulating. I would take apart my friend Vince's G.I. Joes and like just try to remake articulating puppets out of wood. And that was the beginning of art, but I didn't think of it as art. I was just making war toys. So like every real American, I got into art through war toys. Nice. So it's horrible. I love that. But that really is the beginning. And there was always wire around. There was always wire for appendages. There was always wire as armature for these, because wire is
nuts and bolts, like
exactly, because it's such a perfect medium to make these little. I was using wire in sculptures, like even for teeth and stuff, at probably 10 years old. It just was never a sculptural thing until much later. But that's pretty much the genesis of it, is being taught that you could build anything, and then like always looking at everything. And then as soon as I realized, I was like, oh, I can make any toy that I could think of anything and just make it.
Yeah.
And then when I was about 12 or 13 years old, I sold one of those sculptures to a kid. Yeah, Minnie's. She's from Latin, so she can hear her talk. But yeah, that was the first love, was building toys. So
yeah.
I'm still kind of there, so I'm still there. I just got away from building things as I got older and had to earn a living.
Yeah, you built so much, yeah. I mean, and you're still doing wood stuff as well, as like it, and fabric. So I don't know. I guess
I just made this really beautiful pot pipe about a day ago.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Put that right there. It's nice. That'll help my art career.
I don't know what changed to.
So I found skateboarding when I was about 12 years old. I was actually younger, 9 years old. I went to Hamels in Pacific Beach, and I saw Christians, so I do a method off a launch ramp. I had a Big Wednesday, which are these huge skate jams they used to do in the 80s. I bought his board that day, and I skated every day for 20 years until both ACLs blew out. So when I found skateboarding, it foreshadowed everything. I lost all interest in building things, and then I tore out my knees. My stature was not built for skating, and it's a young man's sport. So when I had my first knee surgery, I got just horribly depressed, and I'd always worked on wood, but I'd maybe make a wood carving like maybe 2 or 3 times a year, so it was more of a hobby than a passion. And when I hurt my knee, I just started bending wire, and it became full force, where I was just always working on it. It was like jumping into a river as soon as I discovered it. And I remember the first thing I made was a wire chair for a wood figurine, and as soon as I made that 3D ass elbow part, it was like jumping into a river, like this huge epiphany. I was like, oh, I could do this, I could do that, I can do this. I can make a fucking Indian tomahawking a cowboy's head open. Or you can do anything, like you can do anything. So like, and then it just is, that was 15 years ago, and it's like hasn't stopped. So it was just like this takeover of my life. I started sneaking it to my work. At the time I was working in biotech, and I would just sit in my office and bend wire constantly, and I just started accumulating them, because it's not like wood where I have to sit and shape something out and sand it for hours, where wire, you just bend it and it's there. It's instantaneous. There's no sanding, there's no drying. It's warehouse space, man. The audio's gonna audio.
Oh, yeah.
It's ambiance. So now everyone's like, oh, San Diego trolley, San Diego trolley.
Hey, you can hear the thing, like very slightly.
Totally, yeah. But so it's I could hear the music playing. So we're reeling it in.
Oh yeah. No. I don't know. Now there's a couple things that stand out to me. I'd like to, like, of just your work ethic too.
The work ethic comes though from this, like, I come from like fine peasant stock ditch diggers, like just like straight up just like white trash peasant stock, and also I grew up in the cul-de-sac being coddled, so like I have that Anglo-Saxon white man rage, so I'm like a recovering white dude, like, so nobody's angrier than white dudes, even though all of America's designed for their success. If you go to Del Mar, there's where the angriest surfers are, the richest ones. So I just channel, like I just want to tell everyone, like it was either a high-powered rifle and a bell tower or wire. Pretty
That's
much.
how you're expressing yourself in a playful way.
Well, it was like I got heavily involved. I grew up as a straight-edge, hardline punker kid. So like I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. I thought everyone that did was poisoning their brain and a loser. I wouldn't talk to people. And then when I tore out my ACL, I got addicted to the pain meds. It was the first time ever having synthetic opiates. So I was like, whoa, this is like a jacuzzi full of angel pussy. This is amazing. So, you know, I instantly recognized it as like, oh, I could spend my whole life in the house of a dolls. I could just be popping little Tic Tacs all day long. So my friend recognized that too, and he turned me on to pot, and that coincided with the wire. And I'm sure, like, you know, I'm not an advocate of pot, and I don't tell people I use pot, but I swear to you, as soon as I started smoking it, it would turn that rage into where I would be thinking of something that was like a horrible travesty, like a sad thing about our society, and the pot or the timing in my life, I would turn it into a joke. And then I was like, oh, art is this amazing, like what Aristotle talked about, it being a cathartic process where you digest issues and you fucking spit them back out as you being the medium. I realized that it's like that whether you mean it or not. It's this emotional compost pit where you take all the fucking hurt of the world. Because going back to like my growing up being a hardcore, got heavily into activism, started paying attention to politics, and if you do that, you're fucked, dude. If you do that, you're miserable. Look at the world, you're miserable.
Yeah.
So if you pay attention to that, it's just gonna make you run in circles and go crazy. So I just started the mantra of every time I want to complain or tell people what to do, or tell people what to do, which is always just make art instead, because nobody wants to fucking hear it. And everybody else is fucking complaining. So fuck complaining, it does nothing. So really, it's just me trying to, my work ethic and passion for art comes from, like, mania is my motor. It's just being so fed up with all of the wrong in the world, because any person that's half fucking aware is noticing all the fucked up things going on. And there's nothing you can do. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. So that goes back in. It all comes back to like the activist roots and the punk aesthetic of trying to get out of, find a subculture. And when I found art, I started selling things first to people so going back to like accumulating stacks of them when I was working at biotech,
Yeah.
I just started leaving them everywhere on telephone poles, on light poles. I'd go to my friends' houses and I would lift up the little plastic trays that hold the forks and put a wire sculpture. So when they moved in 2 years, they'd find it. I'd go to, I'd like just anywhere I could think of. I'd go to rest stops up and down the coast on skate trips and put wire sculptures in the, like, you know, how, you know, like the upper deck. Upper deck is when you take a shit in the upper toilet. Like I would call it upper decking, but I would just do it with wire, and it was amazing. So like I knew the maintenance guy, like maintenance the toilet in 6 months would be like, what the fuck is this rusted piece of wire? And then you'd look at it,
rust hanging off.
Yeah, and who knows what it could be like. You know, it could have been anything. A Hitler on Boyle's ass or whatever. But anyway, like it all came from that. The motivation is all like desperation. That's what it is though. Like it's
almost like releasing. It's like having a blister.
So it's I jokingly call it man knitting, like knitting for men, because it is my stress ball. It is something that it is the Anglo-Saxon white bloodline. There's a lot of angry Caucasian people, and I think that's part of the problem of the whole world. All the war machine is all people trying to, you know, plant their flags over everybody else's. Yeah. So instead of doing that and like being also like I got to go into like I always was disgusted by like Melbourne. I grew up in El Cajon, like monster trucks, you know. Like so I just was always like, well, this is not what I want. Like there's nothing here that I want. Like fuck these dudes. So art was also a window out of that to where I could take that impulse that I was born and raised with and turn it into something that would add value. So I was always looking for that window, and consciously looking for it. Because I was aware of not wanting to go down the same road that both my brothers did and all my peers from El Cajon did. So it goes. So it's the exact. I got into it through war machines, then I got passionate about it because I don't like war machines, pretty much. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because it makes it tangible. Take something that's like people might think it's like crazy or.
If you told me when I was like an 18-year-old punker kid that you could like change someone's mind or make someone happy with a piece of thinly bent metal and an idea, like I'd be like, you're an idiot, like it's boring. But it happens all the time. I mean, it's probably like sounds like a fucking toot my own horn, but I got fucking 3 cameras in my face. 3 days ago, I sold a piece of wire to a Navy SEAL. So there's a lot of Navy dudes in this area, as you guys are well aware. And this guy, like, you know, I had a beer and we like started talking. I always talk to him, and like I love war stories, so I'm trying to like get to know this dude. And he has this like full existential breakdown about like he didn't understand what he was fighting for, and he was buying a piece of art from me. The first piece of art he ever bought, and he realized, he's like, that's what I was fighting for. I'm fighting for freedom, and freedom is not people in their stucco homes watching TV or fucking internet shopping. He's like, freedom are people living passionately and doing whatever the fuck they want. And he saw me as a representation of that, and it was the most flattering, sincere moment. Awesome. And me and this Navy SEAL right there fucking hugged while he was crying because I bend thin metal into elaborate designs. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah,
like I get the heebie-jeebies talking about it. But he probably just was like, oh, well, okay, I'm going golfing. But like I was like, holy shit, that was an amazing moment. So, but
yeah, that's great.
And I get that. I get these windows as like a tough man having this very soft interaction with another tough killer. Like that dude's a killer. He's killed people. So like, it's just insane to me. Like, so I get these windows into people's like psyches and lives through art that are more than amazing. So that's also plays into the addiction factor of like knowing that I get, because I love people and I'm a curious person about people, and I believe that within each person there is the spark of genius and infinite jest. So like I know within each person you can make it a magical moment if it's so choreographed into a magical moment, and the potential's always there. So I just hate when people are like, I'm in line, I'm buying this beer, like here's the money till, like, instead of like trying to interact and be in that moment of like, because I don't know, I hate feeling stale, and I think like that kind of thinking makes you stale when you start like disconnecting from your daily routine. So those were all motives of knowing like making art keep you connected to that passion and that motive of trying to be fully alive all the time. But being fully alive is tiresome, and that's why I drink beer at night. Right?
and it's huge to believe in yourself.
Could we just use that?
Yeah,
Edit
yeah.
the rest.
I
Just that last part.
I drink beer at night.
What
Okay,
motivates
now-
you? I drink beer. Like, that's it. It's true. I mean,
All the first part we'll put later, like a year from now, and like some B-roll stuff.
I know
behind
a lot
the
of
scenes.
I know a lot of addicts, and I know a lot of people that have died from drugs and alcohol. But like, I know a lot of people, and a lot of my favorite artists and musicians. That it's like Bill Burke, one of the comedians, Bill something. He talked about like how many ideas have been thought with the inebriated brain that were just have changed the world or changed a medium like music or arts. But pretty fun, fascinating. Glad I got the old man's.
Yeah, no, that's. I don't think
That's
I
the old
realized.
man
You might
right
have
there.
mentioned- Is that actually a picture of it?
So he was a master draftsman and really good at
Can I see? Can I
drawing things to scale. Which one do you want? So, yeah, I really won the parents' lottery. So my mom was an English professor, tenure professor at San Diego State, and she grew up making me read most of the masters, great literature masters. She was a big James Joyce fan, so I grew up reading all the drunk Irish classic poets that are really rich in intellect and humor. So I think that affected just the way that I articulate art and express myself, and never take anything too serious, but always analyze it. So going back to like winning the parents' lottery, like my mom pushed me intellectually and conceptually. My dad pushed me just to be literal, like roll up your sleeves and get to work, because he was the type of guy that just worked constantly. Both my parents were raging workaholics or working rageaholics or whatever.
Yeah, I love it. Like even at the beginning, it's like, how are you gonna build a
That's for eighth
a
graders.
spaceship? Or a
Yeah, it's
friggin-
showing
yeah,
kids that if you
or
learn how to work in
airplane.
metal, you'll always
Yeah.
have a career, because metal is the most diverse element of all time. Think about what metal can build. There's no other element as diverse. It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, let me tell you about metal.
Yeah, let's switch this to metal.
All right. Okay. So first
Dude,
there
yeah,
was
no, that's super interesting.
First there were trees. Yeah, iron ore, amazing. But so wire work has ancient history. They found before we going into the history of actually metal. So before we learned how to make molds and pull molted alloy into molds, we learned how to tap die wire. We made a huge cauldron of just melted fucking iron, got it 2,000, I think 25 degrees or whatever the temperature it is, it gets to melting point, and you just have a little plug, and you just get a stick, and someone would just cool it with air as it comes out, and you just spin it, and that's how you make wire. So it's really simple. Before we learned how to make molding for jewelry, for precious stones, all the Egyptians made wire wrap, like the hippies do at OB. They all made wire wrap jewelry. So wire wrap jewelry they found that are 15,000 years old. Like it's some of the oldest metal work there is. So it's pretty amazing to think about the lineage of wire as metal fabricating in humanity, because I've been to Slovenia and I met these 10th generation wire weavers that would take the same flimsy 16 gauge steel and they'd weave it like into forms of chairs just by constantly constructing it, reinforcing it on itself. So it's an amazing medium. And when I saw those weavers that were doing these old patterns, it's when I started making like a lot of those multi-face designs, weaving larger and larger, seeing how far I could go.
Bigger
And it
gauges.
just, yeah, it started very small, very simple, and just as I learned more about the medium, more internet searches, more traveling to places that I knew wire had lineage at, I just started to adapt these different ideas and be like, oh, if I weave it around. So now, like when I make characters, I have to like dissect the iconography, thinking like, oh, I need a support line for that appendage. I need this there. So it's like chess and illustration mixed together, where you're thinking 10 moves ahead while you're constantly constructing it. And that's the exact same thing that you do with wood. So with wood, which is reduction carving, you take a solid block and you're saying, there's where the nose is going to be, there's where the eyes are going to be. You're doing all this reduction. And the only way you have to convey any expression is depth of field play. There is no line. So in wire, the wood carving helped train my brain for 3D design. Because now when I do wire, even though it's mostly 2D now, the best part about it is the subtle depth of field between 3 to 2D. the space of play fill, what you can't even see on cameras, but unless you pivot and take sweeping panning shots.
Yeah.
But in a still shot, it just looks like a nice illustration. You don't really see. But then I started, of course, anything that's a solid object will block light, and I started doing the light stenciling, the shadow bombing, and that took it from where I was selling pieces for a minuscule amount to a very large amount, just projecting it. I didn't realize, I have no art training, so I didn't know about the laws of attraction, where you can take an object and it's shit, and you can take the same object and light it correctly, and it's amazing. So like, I had no idea how important that was. And as soon as I started doing the projections, is right when galleries started paying notice. It was right when I had my first art show. It also coincided with the biotech company that I was working for getting bought out, and they offered me a really good severance package, so I just fucking ran towards the arts. And that was 11 years ago. So I've been slinging wire for 11 years straight now. And every year I get better at knowing where and when with what to be. So it's amazing. I don't know many visual artists in San Diego that eat off their art. It's a hard place. This is a cultural outpost. There's not a lot of, I know every artist in San Diego, except for Elephant Pie or whatever. But
Elephant Pie.
What's his name?
Teddy Pancake.
Teddy Pancakes is way better than I'm Elephant Pie from now on. So
You're officially now
Elephant Pie. Yeah. It's perfect. My other nickname's Mongo.
You're
So
gonna have to
Elephant
shut down
Pie
and
is
do a
like,
remodel of the front of the studio space.
I'm gonna make an elephant mask with a big pie or something. Who are you? I'm Elephant Pie. I'll just walk around with pie and give people pie. Go, you can have my elephant pie.
Yeah, and then beyond that, to go on that note, I think you're the most talented artist I've met.
Oh shit.
And a good friend. So.
Oh, thanks, man.
But I mean, I've traveled around, but I think one thing that maybe not everyone appreciates is that like roots and like punk rock view of things, which maybe not everyone understands punk rock.
Because when you
in the
said
same
like
way.
the most talented artist here, I was like, have you ever been to fucking Europe, dude? Like
Well,
walking down the street in
I
Europe and seeing like the genius art.
I have though.
I know you have. I know.
But I mean, I'm
But
sure if I sat down and
that compliment makes me
something
feel
that-
uncomfortable. But thank you very much.
So I think it's huge, and that's why I think it's so great to.
Yeah, it's important to
talk
me
about
that I get it out, and I'm a big James Baldwin fan, and he's a writer that I respect enormously, and he wrote a lot about the importance of expression and how there's nothing more satisfying, and it's true. There's nothing more satisfying when you have an idea in your head and you've gotten that out, even if you get it 1/10 of what you envisioned. It's so satisfying. So it's the healthiest thing I've ever been addicted to.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you are. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good for me. And then my dog, sleeping on the job.
Yeah.
I only got that dog so she would, look cute. I could polish her up and put her on the hood when the affluent came over and be like, I have a dog. It'd be like, oh.
She hasn't died yet.
No, she's just hot. She doesn't like the heat.
Yeah, it's gonna be so hot this weekend.
Yeah, it's gonna be scorching, man. It's gonna be super
It's a beach
hot.
weekend. I was
Yeah.
thinking about going
It's
out
gonna
to
be
the
the first day of
desert.
summer, though.
Go
I
up
would
the
I would do
slab.
an endurance test in Anza Borrego. We can go hike through mud caves. There's 60 in the
Let's
deep
do it.
depths. Or if you want to, I will.
I'm down.
Let's try to do it. You got to be work on Monday.
That's the idea. Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
I have a lot to do too, so maybe we could just do a day trip because sleeping out there will be miserable.
Yeah. Well, it's.
I
gonna be
always
like 100
love
degrees
ocean
right
and desert on the same day. It always
Yeah.
makes me feel strangely.
now. Go to the desert all day and come back and swim out in the ocean.
Yeah. Just told you, man. You give me my tongue does sit-ups, dude's got 6 packs. I'll talk your ear to fucking
All right.
ground, dude.
Well, then let's
Talk a
get to
lot. I
putting
haven't
you
had
on.
coffee today. Think if I had coffee,
Let's put
you'd be
you on
like,
the spot.
Need a new card.
Put you on the spot with the simple questions.
yeah.
Sum them
And
up.
those were just kind of like rambling stream of conscious narratives. I really didn't have like an art crescendo to them at all. So.
No, they did that.
Okay.
I think,
I mean, I've got like textbook like cooking. I've had Ben ask those questions hundreds of times, but I thought you were looking for more of like a free association type of
That's
thing.
exactly what I'm looking
Yeah,
for.
I figured.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
there at that point. We have everything. At this, just for because I want to make it kind of like a trademark, if you will, of that. Of no matter who it is, I want to ask the 3 questions.
Yeah, which is the whole
And it
premise
could be,
of your entire site.
It could be
right?
interpreted in whichever way you want. So I don't even want to
Okay.
give you any hints or leads or anything.
I should make the lamp before you put this all together. We can get a shot of it spinning the words around.
That'd be rad.
Yeah, it's gonna be tight, but I could do it. It could happen. Yeah.
And again, no rush. So as long, just like with anything, all good things are better, all thought out. So let me know if you guys are ready with your. John, are you?
Yeah.
All right. So the first question that I have for you,
Yes, sir.
Spencer, is how do you live?
How do I live? I mean, you want me just to answer it as simply as I can?
Whatever comes to mind.
I try to live in balance, but it's impossible to maintain. And when I'm in balance, I think I'm a very good person. And then when I'm out of balance, I'm awful, like all humans. So I think I'm just like everybody else. I try to go towards happiness and try not to be dredged down into the dark that I think that humanity sometimes gets into easily. How do I live? One leg at a time. First things first. I don't know.
I like the first.
Yeah, okay.
That was perfect.
Yeah, I
that
mean, I'm
was
trying to.
I like it.
I'm trying to really think about it.
No,
And
yeah, no, that's the worst thing to do.
I lean towards silly. I live silly.
Yeah.
I lean towards. I relish in awkward moments. I relish in silliness. I love the theater of the absurd. I think that I don't believe in anything nothing's more important than humor. Humor is the greatest of intelligence. And the only thing man invented that is cool is the wheel. Everything else is heavily flawed.
Yeah,
Everything else has horrible side effects.
Yeah.
Since then, technology just fucking...
Repercussions.
I'm not a
Yeah.
Luddite. I don't want to throw it all into the pond. I like my pillows.
Yeah.
And I love dinner. But I fucking... I think that man peaked at the will.
Yeah.
And just ever since then, we're fucking going
Yeah,
towards
no.
Sodom and Gomorrah, dude.
Created
Honestly.
the perfect mechanism to go downhill, right? That's perfect. I never thought of that analogy before.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, those are all philosophies that guide my life heavily.
All right, I'm gonna hit you while you're hot.
Yeah, okay.
And the next question is, how do you love?
How do I love?
Yeah.
I'm like a woman, where men are like, come on, baby, always give me one more. They hang around, where like I am either on fire or I'm cold as ice. There is no in between with me. I'm completely one end of the spectrum.
One end of the spectrum.
And I think that's the way I am with the way I'm feeling, with the way that I'm thinking. I'm either the lights are on at everybody's home, or I'm fucking fetal in the basement crying. So there's no in between with me. I think I might be not on an Asperger's spectrum, but a little like obsessive compulsive mania, like a little bit of that. But like channeled well. So I live, I mean, every artist is probably gonna say that. I live passionately, but I've been told my whole life, they're like, whoa, you really... I've always been told I have a lot of heart.
Yeah,
Which people either mean as a compliment or a put down.
Well, and it goes back to that not expressing yourself too, right? I mean, if you're upset with something, it's hard to just coast by.
Oh, I can't.
And just like, oh,
I'm the type of
let this
person that
slide by.
I will pull my nuts off for what I believe.
Yeah.
Like I will die at any moment for what I believe. And people say that, but then they're in that moment and they don't follow through. Where I've been tested and I know that I will die for what I believe. And I know that's like a soldier, tough guy thing to say, but that's really how I feel. That's really how I live. If I see someone if I see any situation where someone is getting downtrodden, I have a deep instinct to help save that person, and that has always been ingrained in me. But that's how I was raised. That's how my father was. So I was just always brought up to be that type of man, to where like, if there's help, you run towards it. You don't fucking sit there. You help. Like so, that sounds super cheeseball, and like I'm not trying to be like Tom Cruise in Camaro or anything, but like fucking, that's really what I believe. So I am the type of person that will rip off my balls to prove a point. I don't even need a point per ball. I'll do 2 for 1 point. You know?
Just rip them off.
Yeah, use that. Could we just edit all that out and say I drink beer? Cool.
And,
How do you live? I drink beer at night.
That's
and I mean, while we're going, we have one more question, and it is, how are you evil?
How am I evil?
Yeah.
I'm evil the way all animals are evil, the way all unenlightened, unhumane beings are evil. I'm selfish, I'm greedy, I'm petty, I'm fucking full of piss and vinegar and toxic, you know, like I'm evil the way everyone is. I'm capable of tremendous lows. I'm capable of tremendous failures, like all humans, you know. So I'm evil mostly in the way that I always project onto the ones that I love. That's the worst trait I have. The worst trait that I have is the most evil thing that I do. The worst thing that I have is that whoever I'm closest with,
get it the worst.
yeah. And if you think like you should give it to strangers more, because like fuck them, but
They don't even deserve it. Such a fuck.
But that's tax. Like I believe that every relationship breaks even. Like whatever I give you, I'll take from you in by disappointment. In some way, though, that's true. That sounds like the Beatles song, though. Like, the love in the end is equal. Like anyway, I hate Paul McCartney. Fucking that bastard. I'm not joking. I love him. I even like some Ram songs. I really like a few of them. Like 2. Linda wasn't a good singer. Rest her soul.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, is that what you're looking for? The love? Those are hard questions.
Yeah, they're super.
To answer, unlike
you did like an insanely well job at answering.
and not to like come off like sounding like campy or. Those are hard questions, not just to fall back on cliches, you know, like or common epigrams about them. But
Yeah. Oh, because you know, some people will play it safe. Oh well, I'm evil because sometimes I will eat my roommate's, leftover.
No, that is my worst quality.
You know,
is that when I'm out of balance, I'll just project my negativity onto people that I was like, oh, I'm projecting this dude or this person that doesn't even fucking care. Like, why am I doing this? And that's exactly where I'm like, oh, Ben Wire. That's why I keep it on me at all times. Because when I get in those modes, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. My brain's telling me to do this. So that just the hand constantly reaches for it.
Yeah, I tip my hat to you so many times where it's like, you know, something's going on and you're just fucking dedicated to getting some work done, and I admire that so much.
No, I got the whatever it is. I think it's been real. I had the work ethic, and I got from the love, and then the small amount of acclaim that I've gotten and making a living off of it for this long was just reaffirmed to run towards that. And I was like, oh, this is everything in my life pushing me towards this. From even like environmental ethics, like this sculpture is 50 cents of steel. There's nothing else like that. There's nothing else that you can do so much with so little. My friends jokingly call me Rumpelstiltskin, the little troll that weaves the hay into gold. Then like, because I'm turning tie wire, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like so, and it's insane to me that people will pay me to do this.
That's a good analogy.
But
gosh, yeah, these are just insane. You've explained this one to me before.
Yeah,
like reaching out to the little nodes.
Yeah, the amniotic fluid covered hands reaching towards the technology. It's pretty silly.
Screen.
Pretty silly. Father Time is the yoni birthing the baby. Because that's the clock, the time when we start our lives is the birth out of the pussy. It's the ultimate clock.
1, 2, 3.
I got some good ideas for sculptures, for some kinetic sculptures that I'm going to be getting into. Maybe we could talk about that another time.
Good.
But are we good?
Yeah,
We're good?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we're
good.
good. Awesome.
Thank you. That was great.
Get that fan.
Yeah.
And everything's always weird and hard, and also like it's always I should have said that moment. Like you're like, okay, Brandon, and
it's that analogy. I always think that analogy is like you're only as good as your worst film. You're only as good as like that moment that this fucking little device is capturing you.
Yeah.
Because I've had so many interviews where I was like, I know I'm smarter than that. I know I have something more fucking interesting to say than that. And that's how I'll feel when I see this.
I think we got some good stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. That's great.
All right, good. You caught me at the right time of day. A beer usually helps. Like a beer usually makes me a little, like, a little calmer. Like it makes me ramble. And well, like I'll get into like snowball as well. So
Oh yeah, there's a couple points where stuff go by.
Yeah, that's normal. That's fine.
Jackass.
Cool deal.
let me go take a leak. You guys want?